Our meeting will now be called to order. Shift it on the back before you have to. Got it? Okay. All right, sorry about that. We're getting in order. All right, if I can ask Dr. Miller from Aldersgate UMC to please come up for our invocation. Thank you, Dr. Miller, for being here this evening.
Everybody should pray with me. God of all creation, we understand and believe that you give to us hope, because your hope for all of us and for all of your creation is justice and peace and fullness of life for all. And so we pray, Lord, that as we enter into this time of discernment and decision-making, that our trust and belief in education and the way that education partners with your greatest hopes for your children would be fruitful. I pray, Lord, for our community. I pray for the school board, for each representative, and for its superintendent. And we pray, Lord, that during this time that we would be guided by what's in the best interest of all, the decision-making and all that is. We give you thanks and praise for the hope that you give to us, the hope that all will be moving toward peace, justice, and fullness of life. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Miller. Thank you so much. We do have a quorum with all 7 board members in attendance. Do I have a motion to approve the revised agenda?
Madam President, I move that we adopt the revised agenda as printed.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries with 7 votes. We are going to have Ms. Mona Davis come for recognition.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Tonight, we are so pleased to recognize an outstanding group of students who have distinguished themselves by being a part of an elite group of students in the nation. They are ranked among the nation's top high school students by being named 2015 National Merit Semifinalists. They were among 16,000 students that were selected this year from a pool of about 1.5 million students. So, we're very pleased with the work that they've done. They were selected based on their scores on the preliminary SAT and essay letter of reference, but not only how well they perform academically, but also the work that they're doing both in the school and in the community. And with that, I'm going to call the names of our 2015 National Merit Semifinalists from LAMP. But before I call them in, they're waiting in the hall. Could any of their parents please stand that are with us tonight? You are Weston's mother, right? You're Weston's mother?
I am.
Okay, all right. Okay. I said it, I was teasing him in the hall. He was the only one that brought his mom. So we'd also like to recognize LAMP Principal Barbara Sankey, who couldn't be with us tonight, and also their counselor, Mary Harmon. Mary, stand. This woman is awesome. She makes sure that they get what they need to become National Merit Semifinalists. Okay, and with that, Deja Chappelle. Let's give her a hand as she comes. We have Hun Choi. We have Ayla Everly. Andrew Jones. His is so special, is his?
I got it.
We won't be able to find him.
All right.
Mrs. Harmon always saves the date.
We have Ashish Kaushik.
Congratulations.
Grant Prater.
Congratulations, Grant.
Okay. And Weston Straw.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, please join the board in congratulating these students. I would like to add that they will advance in the program and compete for scholarship offers worth more than $32 million next spring. Congratulations. Thank you. Let's give them another hand as they do. Miss Allen, you can sit down and support. Professional development is not only important to teachers and staff, but it's important for our board members too. And the training that they pursue helps them balance their leadership roles, both with community concerns and also acting in ways and pushing and implementing policy that is to the benefit of students. And tonight we are celebrating the levels that you all have achieved in AASB's School Board Member Academy. So with that, would you please come forward? We have Mary Briers, Master, third year.
Congratulations.
We have Eleanor Dawkins, Master, third year. Robert Porterfield, Master, second year. He's gaining on the other two. We have Durden Dean, level 3.
I'm not old enough.
We have Melissa Snowden, Master, fourth year. She's the veteran of the group.
I like school.
Congratulations.
And we have Dr. Lisa Keith, level 1.
Or Roberta.
And you'll soon be joining us next year. All right, and the gold badges that you all will receive will be presented to you at the Academy Awards Luncheon December 4th in Birmingham. Thank you so much for your service.
All right. You'll be with us next time.
And last but not least, we have a very special presentation by Character at Heart. Pam Morgan, you can please come forward.
Good evening. It's good to be here this year. This is the first time this school year, but before I introduce you to two special schools, let me just sort of update you where we are at Character at Heart. We've already had our first meeting this year, and we have our character coordinator selected in every elementary school. And this year we're taking on the theme of superheroes. And I think that's sort of a hit for a theme, because I noticed last week Bayer School did a wonderful play, it looked like on TV, with Mighty Minds, and it was related to superheroes, so I was delighted to see that. But we're working on it, and each time we meet, we take a different theme. The first meeting we had, we said a hero honestly achieves. And we talked about academic integrity. And you know, sometimes you don't think about academic integrity in elementary schools, but that's really where it starts. You start even in kindergarten, helping children to understand why it's wrong to copy someone else's paper. Because really with kindergarten and first graders, we encourage them to work together and get together, so they really don't understand why they can't just look and take someone else's work. So we work on that. Then in a few weeks, we'll be working on a hero encourages others. And this is where we're going to be talking about school climate and how important it is for school. And we're going to be relating it to respecting others. I don't like to say the word bully, and anti-bully program, which I don't think we need because we're working on kindness. But if you're kind to others, you're not going to have a bully in your class. And then later on throughout the year will be a hero, Riches for the Stars, where we're going to be talking about how they can set goals and working with elementary students setting goals. And then a hero overcomes obstacles. So we're very pleased. I think we have an exciting lineup this year, but we even were able to give all of our character coordinators. We have a character coordinator for every school that comes, and then they go back, and their job is to share with their staff members about what we have shared with them so they can do the program until we meet again. What's under your cape is so appropriate. It's wonderful. Barbara Bruner we were able to fund her to come and speak several years ago at the beginning of the school year to all the elementary teachers in Montgomery, and she's phenomenal. She's sought after all over the nation. She's keynote speakers, she's breakout speakers, but she's written a book on what's under your cape. So we were able to share this with our character coordinators, gave them all one, and they're using this in their schools. But we are busy, we're working, and we're having fun too. But tonight, and they're also going to be writing grants this year, and the two that I'm recognizing, this is on their grants that they wrote last year. And they received some wonderful recognition. And I would first invite Bayer to come up, and I'm going to ask him, Tom, if you'll make all of our pictures, I think, do you want us to all be up here at one time, or would you rather just do?
Whatever you
Let's do it all at one time, okay? But if I could have Bayer, Liz Hill is the principal, and then the teacher that wrote this program up is, wait a minute, Sarah Francis, okay, and that's her last name. Francis is her last name. I thought it was a double Southern name, but it's not. But they wrote, in fact, I came and presented them their grant when they received their mini grant because they wrote it on, Sarah Francis wrote it on the Clothespin Project. And it was so good. It was about helping children to understand tolerance and how some of them would have a clothespin on, and those would be the ones that would have more privileges and all, but it was really unique. And it was, you know, these that I'm sharing with you, I sent these applications off to character.org. That's an organizational, national organization that is in Washington, D.C. And they also work with the state and national schools of character. And they selected, this was one of the schools that they selected to be a promise in practice for 2015. And this is a nice prestige honor. And before I share it more, I want to invite Vaughn Road to come up, Brenda Lindsay, and Minerva, what's your last? Washington, I should know that. Yeah, sure. And Minerva, I was so pleased, she was able to come to the national forum that we had in Atlanta and to receive her recognition. But Minerva wrote their application on a gardening and doing service learning for gardening. And if you've ever ridden by Vaughn Road School, you can certainly see where they do work hard in their schoolyard, the campus, and but the children are learning much by planting plants. They did ecology. It was right in Earth Week, they promoted it then. Well, they were selected also. And one of the things that they get as far as the recognition that they receive, is to be on their website, character.org, but also this is their magazine that they put out. And this year at the forum, we had, I think they said, 40 states represented plus 6 foreign countries. It's great that the movement of character education is going strong. And the nice things about it is how it makes a difference in a school. Not only in what they do, but it's raising academics. Because if you can help children to assume responsibility and be respectful in others, they're going to want to do. But they're also listed in this magazine as being a promise in practice. Now what we want to do next, that's the first step. Then they go on, and then we want them to start writing and getting their programs up so they can apply for a state school of character, national school of character. And I tell you what, there's so many good things going on in Montgomery, Alabama, and in our schools, and with the teachers, and with our children. And I'm so excited to still be able to be a part of this and still work with the children in Montgomery. And I just want to say thank you to Bayer and to Von Road. You deserve this recognition. Thank you. We'll continue doing mini grants, and so hopefully we'll have some more next year. But you'll be seeing me in the next couple of meetings. I'll be coming to recognize the winners and the recipients of the mini grants.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan, and congratulations to Bayer and Von Road Elementary. It's always exciting to hear of the great things going on in our schools. Now it is time for our public comments, and if you will bear with me, I will read the procedures. Ladies and gentlemen, our next agenda item is public comments. It is important that we follow the rules and order of protocol in making public comments. The rules and procedures are as follows. Requests must be made in advance in writing to the superintendent's office by 4:30 p.m. on the Tuesday preceding the meeting date. Requests must have specified the nature of the business to be taken up with the board and the name of the person who will address the board to be added to the agenda. Communications must be respectful. Discussing specific student or employee matters will not be allowed. Individuals who have concerns that are inappropriate to be solved in this venue are welcome to seek a problem-solving meeting with the superintendent. Immediate feedback by the board may not be provided. However, you may be contacted for follow-up by the superintendent or her designee. Public comments may not exceed 5 minutes. The board chair has full authority to terminate the remarks of any person whose comments contain personal attacks, exceed the time limit, or are otherwise inappropriate. A speaker may be considered disruptive who continues to speak when their allotted time has ended, when asked to stop speaking by the board chairman, or is otherwise inappropriate. If a person fails to comply when asked to terminate comments, he or she will be escorted to their seat, out of the auditorium, or off of MPS property, depending on the level of disruption. So with all of that being read, our first person, citizen, Mr. Jim Vickery, book presentation.
Ms.
Hi. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to keep the time over here. We're having an issue with the timer on the computer, but I'll do like this for those 1 minute, okay?
Okay. Is that all right, Mr. Vickery? Mr. Vickery, it's your time now.
Wasn't sure you were telling me how few minutes I had to speak to you. I just wanted to-
You have
Is that
5.
right? Every person I've met tonight has told me I have 5 minutes to speak. So I've written 2 speeches. One is in the book that I'm presenting to the board tonight, and that Renee has a copy of, a couple of extra copies of. The other one is the shorter version of that speech. I realized last night was not 5 minutes in length. And I'm not going to have Tom Sawyer on my case for the rest of my life for blowing this. I've returned full circle this evening to make a presentation and to make the second installment, an installment payment on a debt that I feel like I owe the Montgomery Public School System, and I have for nearly 7 decades. The debt is repayment of the outstanding public education that I've personally received here, making it possible for me to experience the higher educational and legal careers that I've enjoyed since 1965. It began for me, in fact, right here on this very site. In the fall of 1948, in Miss Thompson's first grade classroom on the first floor of the Cater Street Elementary School. And it ended for me, in the system at least, a dozen years later on May 27, 1960 at the Garrett Coliseum when I was graduated from Robert E. Lee High School. That's why 17 years later, when I became president of the University of Montevallo, I got a chance to do something that I had been contemplating doing for a long time. And that was to try to reach every public school teacher that I had had in this system when I was coming along and invite them, particularly my 6th grade teacher at Cottage Hill Elementary School, Thelma Jones, whom I adored, to a luncheon at the Capital City Club where I gave each of them a crystal apple and some most inadequate words of appreciation for their contributions to my life, my learning, and to my earning living. That was the first installment that I made on this debt that I made reference to. On this occasion, I offer a second installment. Not anything of real crystal, you understand, but rather a book whose prose, I hope, will be at least as crystal clear metaphorically as that apple for my teachers was back so long ago. It's co-authored by some people some of you know who've got their educational or employment starts here in the Montgomery public school system. 2 other Lee graduates besides myself, Carrie Palmer, the outstanding young head of Trinity School, and Roger Stippelmeyer, former principal of Prattville High School. And the 4th person who authored this book is a man who used to work here. He was the 2nd principal at Lee High School, Clinton Carter, and served as your superintendent of education at one time. I tried to get him to be with me tonight. He refuses to come back. The idea for this book was conceived at the 50th anniversary reunion of my class, the class of 1960. It was incubated during the past 2 years as we worked on a variety of topics that turned into 11 chapters, including an original essay, by the way, written by each of the 3 black students who integrated Lee in 1965. No one's ever seen those. You have to get the book to read it. They are fascinating. And it was delivered by a fast-moving truck from out-of-state printer who did the book 2 days before my class celebrated its 55th reunion this year. The book project was precipitated by announcement of the Ann Street to Federal Drive widening project, which I've had occasion to talk with Donald Dotson a good bit about. We thought it would eventually force the hand of local leaders at a variety of places in town in regard to rebooting our alma mater's physical plan by doing one of 3 things: by renovating it, raising and replacing it at the same site the way you did Carver High School, or removing it to a new site in northwest Montgomery County, several sites of which Donald has told me have been visited by some of you. And that's called for in your facilities plan. The same DeJong Consultants and Citizens Committee influence plan that has led you recently to construct Park Crossing High School and to move LAMP to the Montgomery Mall. The next thing on the list, the next major facility project on your list is the new Lee High School. So as I present this book through Renee, who now has copies of it, I didn't get to get each of you beforehand, the second installment of my personal debt of gratitude to you today, I do so on behalf of more than 25,000 Lee alums who are indebted to you for the physical plant that you provided us and your successors provided us in 1955, but which is now 60 years old and is beginning to fall apart. As you accept this book, and perhaps even might read some of it, Mr. Durden has shown me, he has sampled a few pages in the book. As you accept and read echoes of Robert E. Lee High School, the first decade, 1955 to 1965, I would commend to you the words of British author Aldous Huxley, who are comforting words to anybody who's ever written a book. A bad book is as much of a labor to write as a good book. It comes just as sincerely from the author's soul. And whether this is good or bad, it is most sincere. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Mr. Biggery, thank you so much for coming tonight and speaking, and we just thank you for the book. I'm just, thank you. My words are not well eloquent enough to thank you. Is Miss Katie Brown here?
I'd like to say something.
Sure, go right ahead.
Mr. Vicker, I want to thank you
for giving us all a copy. And the fact that you mentioned a golden or crystal apple, I never got my apple. I worked for 30 years at Lee High School, and I'm proud to have worked there and proud to know somebody else that graduated from there. And I think I'll look at that book as my crystal apple. So I thank you.
That's wonderful, thank you. Those are very eloquent words, I appreciate that.
That was so nice, can I come back?
As long as you follow the rules, you sure can. Ms. Katie Brown, I see you over there in the corner now, it's your turn.
Appreciate it. I did get my apple. And my orange.
And your pineapple.
And my pineapple. And good evening. I appreciate the fact of all those that I've worked with and how you've helped me and how I've helped the parents in the community to understand what it is that you do. I appreciate especially some of the chores that have been carried out in order for the faculties and the students to enjoy their stay in the school. I wanted to talk with you about something. I wanted you to remember also Miss Aida Harris. I was at the county commission meeting with Youth City, and I want you to remember that Miss Aida Harris had an echo, and she did this program for a while, where she took the students who were suspended and so forth and so on, and had a center where they tutored them and carried on this program. And I want to thank her for initially, and I want to thank me for coming to you, telling you had all these empty buildings. You needed to put some of these children in there. Youth City is doing a marvelous job. You know, it doesn't matter whether you get recognition for something. All you do is want it to be done. And when it is done, you help the children. That's what we are trying to do. Now, I have two things here. One, I need your help. In the community, when the children are leaving Head Start, and when they are leaving home for the first time to enter public school, you need a transitional counselor. You need somebody to work with those children that are for the first time they're coming into the school system. You need a counselor just for that, because these parents are catching the devil with these children trying to come to school from Head Start. They're doing pretty good with Head Start because they've been there all the time. But the ones that are coming from home for the first time and they're not used to the classroom, they're about to work me to death. You need to come up with some policies or something before I pass on. And nobody's here to help these parents. And they're about to work me. I'm about to take my answering service loose. So come up with some policies that will help these children work with a person at that school to get them acquainted to stay in that school all day and staying away from their parents and staying away from home. We need that. We don't need a regular counselor to deal with that because they have special needs. And this way we can keep them in school and we can keep them doing what they need to do. These are the things that I have been working with in the community so that the parents can go to work and leave their children at the school and not have to leave work and go get them, take them home, go back and take them home, go back and take them, and then I end up with them. So help me, pass something. Well, you have I think I call it a transitional counselor. Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. I think we have a kindergarten teacher over there. Mr. Van Taylor.
I'm going to start off by addressing last time I spoke with Ms. Margaret Allen after the meeting, after my time was up. In regards to starting this process earlier, in regards to our daughter and our sons and their time getting in school, we start the process as soon as it's allowed by the policy that you have in place. We also have still failed to get our daughter into school. She's still sitting over here. And we provided that doctor's statement that you requested on September the 12th. And we still have yet to receive a return phone call or return email or return anything in regards to that. So I want to follow up again with our boy's condition. It's called common variable immune deficiency, and it's also in between what's called specific antibody deficiency disorder. Their bodies do not produce antibodies correctly. And this whole time they've been in Montgomery Public Schools, they are given a zone variance, quote unquote, to attend another school because the schools do not meet the health condition that's required for them, which is central heat and air and light and the like. With this being said, we should have been receiving a 504 policy plan this whole time that they've been in school. All right? With the 504, it would have provided the benefits that we've requested over the years with transportation assistance. We spend $375 a month in gas to and from school. We spend approximately 2.5 hours a day going to and from school. We have a magnet school bus that picks up students from Flowers directly behind our home and going to Johnny Carr. We're denied putting our kids on that same bus because we received a quote-unquote zone variance. Do you think that is right? I don't. Do you know what it robs our kids of? Sports, activities. You're robbing them of things that they cannot get back in their lives. With this being said also, I want you to think about if you had $300 to $375 a month missing out of your budget, what could you do? We're right now bidding on a home in Pine Level to better accommodate our kids to not have to go through the policies and procedures that we have to go through here that get us nowhere. We finally were given a 504 plan recently that Dr. Margaret, I'm sorry, I can't say the name, I'm sorry, I apologize. But you know the employee I'm speaking of. Sorry about that again, I apologize. And with this 504 plan being in place, we requested transportation assistance. The employee that I accidentally mentioned in August was deferred to by the 504 counselor. This same individual is the one who has denied us our basic rights to begin with, the 504 plan. She has now said that since the school bus does not have central heat and air, that we don't qualify for transportation now. Transportation is to be provided or reasonable accommodations made to meet the needs of the individual child with a disability. I want you to think about the Northern District of Alabama ruling on September the 21st, a policy where sovereign immunity is no longer afforded to the school districts because they're not operating as an arm of the state. When is enough going to be enough and discrimination comes to an end in Montgomery Public Schools? I'm not the first case that has dealt with the discrimination against Montgomery Public Schools. I promise you, I'm going to seek every available option to me. And, I'm sorry, it was 1 minute, okay, time was up, sorry. And I promise you that just like the Bible says in Matthew 25:45, truly he will reply, whatever you have not done for the least of these, you have not done for me. If you don't use your position as the policymakers of this school system, you're robbing the children of this school system and the parents that do not know about the policies and procedures and how to go about getting their rights enforced. You're robbing them of their educational opportunities and their quality of life. Discrimination had no place when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus and move back an extra row from the white man who sat down in the row that was designated to be the empty space. I'm going to stand in the same tenacity in which she refused to give up her seat until all students with disabilities have their seat on the bus. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
I'd like to make a comment.
Go right ahead.
I just want to thank you for your fight. I hope you continue fighting. And if there's anything, and I'm still trying, I hope they'll listen. The fact that you had to wait and not get an answer and still have a child out, it's very concerning. And I just thank God for people like you that will stand up for a group, even when people won't stand behind you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, now we are going to go to the superintendent's report. No, there are no citizen comments today.
All right. Are we set? Okay. In our strategic plan, Goal 2 talks about every education professional being effective, resource, and supported. And today, I just wanted to reflect on several strategies that are being utilized in that Goal 2. The Leadership Academy that we just had came out of, you don't have any documents in there. The Leadership Academy that we just, that will be graduating principals and aspiring leaders from in another week came out of that particular goal. Our district is now also working on a educator effectiveness process. And in this process, the Alabama State Department of Education is looking at the current evaluation system that we're using, LEAD and Educate Alabama. And they are allowing each school system to take a look at those two systems and develop plans for improving the way that we look at evaluations. Our staff is also engaged with the process of looking at the new science course of study. The State Department has vetted the standards. They have planned training opportunities, and MPS has a selected team that is being trained in that arena. Finally, Chalkable, that we talked about, the old STI process, they are doing new things. They have engaged with helping school systems to understand how to use data. So we have basically a 5-phase process, training process, that's currently going on with Chalkable and our principals and school teams. So I just wanted to reiterate the fact that there are multiple venues right now operating whereby we are attempting to support and make effective our both principals and teachers in our schools. One thing that I do pretty frequently through the year, and it's usually done, last year it was done by sending a note out to the schools just to encourage the teachers in the work that they are doing. This time they'll see what you're getting ready to see tonight, they will see in the morning. And I want to share this video clip with you from me to the schools.
Good morning, colleagues. We began the school year with clear strategies to accomplish the work of engaging, educating, and inspiring our students. We wanted to ensure that we'd be able to respond to the question, and how are the children, by saying, the children are great. During the first 9 weeks, if we took time to personally greet and call our students by their names, if we saw them struggling and we stopped what we were doing just long enough to offer support, if we differentiated lessons because we knew that somebody needed something different, if we smiled more than we frowned, if we helped just one student choose a lunch selection and spoke to them as if they were our own children, if we taught a lesson as if it was our one and only chance to show that we were exemplary, if we modeled kindness to each other so that students could see our hearts, then we can answer affirmatively. The children are great. You see, what each of us does every day creates answers to the question. That's just how much they need us to be our best selves. My educational experiences and life experiences have equipped me to know that challenges will find their way through the doors. The doors of our classrooms, our school buses, our lunchrooms, and our offices. But our response to the challenges must speak to our determination to be men and women of character. MPS, not only do we teach children, but we are being taught through our engagement with them and with their parents and with each other. If you're like me, you're learning a lot, to include the truth that this work is not always easy, but it's always worth it because of our focus on the children. We are MPS, and that's more than just a phrase. We're nearly 4,000 strong with one focus. Each of us has a separate role, of course, but we have in common the fact that we care about our students, and we want those positive relationships with them and with their parents and the community. Here's a picture of our central office employees supporting the fight against breast cancer. The staff wore pink to show corporate support. And I know that many of you did the same at your school sites, acknowledging that we have students and employees, friends and family fighting this terrible disease. We all believe, however, that it's important to know that someone's in your corner when we face adversity. The same goes for our students. Some are coming from challenging situations. Some face their own physical, emotional, and of course academic problems. But we're working to help them reach their full potential. One of the first things I said to staff as superintendent was that it would be so great to see every child with an adult advocate. I wish it were as easy as speaking the words to make it so. This reminds me of a survey that asked parents what they considered to be the most important element for a school to be successful. Their answers didn't include new buildings and technology and test scores. The results actually said that parents were mostly concerned that their children be cared for by school employees, caring school employees, and that their children were learning. So where are we now? If we were unable to accomplish some of those things that I mentioned at the beginning of this greeting during the first 9 weeks, let's not miss the next chance to show caring and concern in this second 9-week period. If anyone out there is wondering why my conversations are not focused on academics, don't worry, they are, but we must go through some area. We have to get our climate and our culture in order by establishing caring and trusting relationships across the board. To close, I want to encourage system-wide participation in community service projects this year. I think this is a way for us to demonstrate our caring for others. There are many projects out there that we can use to show that not only do we care within our walls, but MPS gives back. What a model for our students. One such opportunity is upon us right now, United Way. United Way is a learning support to many of our children and their families, actually to many of us. We are MPS. We are making passionate synergy with the work of helping all students achieve. I thank each of you so very much for what you do. Hold on to your little red marble and have a great second 9-week period.
I didn't necessarily do that for this audience to do this, because again, I will reiterate, this work is difficult, it's complicated, yes, but we as a school system have to truly hang in there. And I know that it appears to be an antithesis according to Mr. Taylor's comments, and I hate that he was not here through this, because we do care, and we are working through many of the situations, and his is one of them that we have worked diligently through. There are multiple individuals that are sitting over there that have gone through, and our offers are just not lining up to the desires of the parents, and that sometimes happens. But we're not giving up on these children, not his, and definitely not the ones that are already in the school buildings. So that's the superintendent's report for tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Allen. We are certainly envious, and I just appreciate your leadership so much, and that video truly shows that you are speaking from your heart. And I just want to make the comment, too, that it is such a nice way to see that your staff is sitting here. You know, a few years ago, it was very sparse, and I just know that with your leadership, that people feel welcome to come into the boardroom, and we just thank you so much for all of your hard work.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And we just want to thank you so much. All right, receive as information, Mr. Dotson, the Red Cross Shelter Agreement.
Good morning, good evening, board members, Madam Chair, Madam Superintendent. You should have before you the Red Cross Shelter Agreement. If you recall, we did have this on last year, but we only had Carver High School and Goodwin Middle in our conversations with the Red Cross that they wanted to add Robert E. Lee as a site as well. And this is just a site during an evacuation emergency. Those schools will be utilized, will be compensated for the use there, and of course, students would not be there because, of course, there would be a situation to where we wouldn't be in school at that particular point because of the calamity or disaster that happens at that time. And again, it's just we're updating this agreement to add Robert E. Lee High School.
Are there any questions? The next item is the owner-architect contract for the HVAC at Carver Manufacturing Building. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, ma'am. You should have before you the agreement between the owner-architect. If you'll notice, the signatures are there. It has gone through the building commission. However, this was during a time during the summer when we had several things going on, so we omitted to get this to the board for approval. This is just an addition of an air conditioning unit for the Carver Advanced Manufacturing Building, small project. But we did want to come back to get that to this particular agreement approved, so we'll have that on the record.
Okay, thank you. And then the park crossing contractor contract.
Okay, you should have before you the construction contract for the park crossing addition. If you will note, the contract came in at less than the original bid addition from the contractor, and we're pretty proud of that. We're moving forward. I think with what we have, we'll be close. We do feel that we may be able to save some more money when we get programmatically with FF&I and things of that nature with that particular building, with that unit. Also, with the addition of the additional classrooms and the pod, I think you're going to have maybe a capacity of close to 1,600, whereas we were shooting for 14. So that's going to give us an extra capacity for about 200 students at that particular building. Also, with that, we also have coming up in the next week the actual two more bids on other projects. You have coming up the pre-bid for the lamp site work, which will be on November 3rd, and also the pre-bid for the impact contractors, which will be on November 5th. Those we hope to have taken care of so that you can vote on those for the November 12th meeting. However, if in fact that does not happen, we may have, get with the superintendent, we may have to have a call meeting because we cannot wait until December to get those approved and get the contractors moving. So in the interest of time, if our process doesn't fall as we think, then we may have to fall back and have a call meeting once they're solidified with a successful bidder.
Okay.
I'll entertain any questions.
I have one, if nobody else does. I noticed on the contract, it says the contract time is November 28, 2015.
That's a typo.
Okay, well then, what is the completion date? How long is
Completion date.
Rayleigh Construction
Yes,
planning
ma'am.
on?
Completion date for Park Crossing,
Yes, sir.
December of 16. Completion of the pod, December of 16.
Okay. So is that when the students would be able to use it?
Yes, ma'am,
Probably
that's
that second semester?
Correct, the second semester. And again, we, with the addition of the 9 classrooms, we're able to accommodate them. So it's just a factor of just moving over to the pod because they're already in, they already have spaces at this point. So we shouldn't have to add anything for the upcoming year.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Dotson. Medicaid administrative claim, Attorney Perkins.
Yes, Madam Chair, board members, staff, community, I'm here to talk briefly about the Medicaid Administrative Claim Program. This is a program that allows for reimbursement for activities related to the state's Medicaid program in our schools. As you probably have read on the contract, Tallahassee is the fiscal agent for the program, and our district is one of the participating districts. We have a participating fee for the program that was 12%, and it has now been reduced to 6%. This reduction incorporates new federal regulations that allow partial reimbursement of vendor fees to school systems. In essence, we certify a participant list of providers and covered students that Medicaid would normally pay for services for, and we turn in that list to Medicaid, and then they reimburse us back for the coverage. We've been doing that for a while, participating in this service for a while, but our fee for participating in the service has been reduced. We get a quarterly reimbursement, and they take out that percentage of that, so that's going to be reduced from 12% to 6%. This has been an initiative with AASB that they negotiated all of this with us. I've reviewed it, AASB has reviewed it, their attorneys have reviewed it, so I'm recommending that we vote to approve this because it'll be money that we're getting back. And we're going to be getting a little bit more money back with the revisions to this contract pursuant to the new laws.
And there is a deadline of October 31st, so we would have to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hopefully we're going to do it today.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Thank you. All right, Career Tech update, Ms. Beasy.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. I'm just here to kind of give you an update and bring you to the forefront of what all we're doing in Career Tech, which is a lot of fun things this year. You usually hear a lot about Impact, and rightfully so, and Impact is up and running, successfully transitioned from a school to a site. So we're excited about that. But I wanted to give you a little update on some other things that we've been doing this first 9 weeks. And we are Career Tech. So we've added the most exciting thing is the addition of our career coaches. You probably remember us talking about the state was funding career coaches all over the state, and that we were able to get 2. So we have those on board. We're working very closely with our career preparedness classes. If you remember, that's the 9th grade required class from the state that allows the students to discover and explore careers and match their interests up with careers and just be aware of all the different types of careers that are out there. It is a required class, but Career Tech has kind of taken that under our wing because it's the foundation of our program. We feel like very important. I think that all students, from the national finalists standing up here, down to the child who's a couple of grade levels behind, they all need to know what's out there and what they can do, how they can best fit their future and their careers. So we've taken that class under our wing and tried to get that class to make sure that is where the student gets their 4-year plan. And with that comes doing the assessments that's in the Cooter. You've heard us talk about the Cooter assessments. That's just a database where the kids take an interest survey and look at careers and come up with a 4-year plan. So that's very important. It's the new thing in the state. It's required, and as I tell the teachers, it's not going away. So we're trying to make sure those teachers have the resources to do what they need to do. We've been working on Manufacturing Month. That was October is Manufacturing Month. Have lots of activities, and really working hard this month to partner with the industry. We've done a lot of that with the manufacturing. So first of all, I didn't know they were going to be here tonight, but we have our 2 new career coaches, Miss Kanisha Brown and Alicia Ruffin. I put the picture, but they're actually here, so y'all stand up, guys. They have hit the ground running. Let me tell you, they were here like 2 weeks, and I said, okay, October's manufacturing month. We got to plan some activities, and they did. They met with the chamber and came up with some great things. Go ahead, Tom. And we've done so many things. They went into those career preparedness classes. The 9th grade students, they've done manufacturing research projects so the students are aware, because manufacturing, I didn't know, you probably don't know, I mean, that's everything from an assembly line, which by the way pays a lot of money, to engineers, 4-year college. So whether you're high school going to work, 2-year college, 4-year college, whatever, manufacturing has a place for you. So they did a lot of projects. They did a newsletter that went out to all 9th grade students and all the teachers about manufacturing. They gave the teachers resources such as videos to show in those classes about manufacturing. We did tours at Hyundai, both of their plants, Trenum, where it's lots of the trailers came to the schools. They got guest speakers. That's where we worked with our industry, with our chamber, and got folks to come into the classroom. That is still going on. We did a bulletin board type contest, and where the kids put up things about manufacturing, and they did door contests. So that's all been going on. The trailers at each school, we had different types of trailers that came in, and you may have seen some where they have the robotics and you can walk through and see what manufacturing is. We had 3 different types. ATN brought one, AIDT, and then we had a new one this year, Visionary Center for Sustainable Communities Aeronautics trailer. It was out at Brew Tech. It was very fascinating. You've all seen it. But I did some of this because I wanted you to see that we're not just putting the kids through it. We're actually talking to them about it. We're asking them questions, and then after we surveyed them. I said, if you didn't know anything about manufacturing, now that you see a lot of different things in manufacturing, how many of you would be actually interested in manufacturing? So this is just some samples, and we separated girls and boys because there's a big deal about getting girls into STEM, into manufacturing, those kind of things. So this is just a sample of the Brew Tech aeronautics trailer, and you can see there that, afterwards, 48% were now kind of interested in manufacturing. So we can follow up on that. And we know it's just kids, and it's a survey. It's just a start, though. It gives us something to start working from. I'll to the next one. This is the things that they showed in the trailer, things like they had Lego. It was incredible. They had all these different laser printers and 3D printers, and this was just some of the things that they asked if the kids were interested in after they saw it, like Space Camp, Lego, coding, those kind of things were all shown in the trailer. And so then this gave us an idea of the kids, what they really liked and what part. So we can start following up on that. I can make sure that we have career tech programs that follow up on that. So there's a lot of things we can do with that data. So I just wanted to show you some of the things that we're doing. This is the one at Lee and Park Crossing. This was the AIDT robotics trailer. And you can see there that now 46% are now at least interested in manufacturing. And again, manufacturing is a lot of different things. But they see that is manufacturing. Before, when you think of manufacturing, I always think my mother worked in a sewing company for years. I always think of that when I think of manufacturing, but that's not it at all. So it gives us something to follow up on. And here's the one at Carver. And this is just a simple thing, but we had 239 students go through, just observed how many kids were not interested at all. It was all hands-on. And we had about 17% kids that just kind of walked through. That means something to us. Those are kids that really need to be followed up on, whether it's manufacturing or what. What's the problem there? When you don't even want to take a hands-on something that, even if you're not interested in it, then there's something that we need to deal with there, because we want all kids to be able to do that 4-year plan with something in mind that they want to do, to be motivated. So that was just interesting too. This is also at Carver, the ones that were interested in manufacturing, 53%. Well, we have a manufacturing academy at Carver. Why don't we have more kids? That's what I have to find out. Here we have plenty of kids to follow up on. So it's a starting place for us to start evaluating what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what the kids need, so that we can better equip the teachers to better equip the kids. to start choosing and being motivated to choose a career, so therefore hopefully they're motivated to do well in their academics and everything. This is just a little recap video. I hope it'll play. Just hit see that we did. The career coaches took a lot of pictures. Here we go. This was Manufacturing Day. It was October 2nd, and the governor proclaimed it, and the coaches were there to represent MPS. These are just pictures of some of the kids and the things that they did. Some of these are an impact. Along with Manufacturing Month, we had Fire Science Safety, so our fire science kids did a lot of things. This is when they were going through the trailers and seeing things, or either on the tours. The impact kids, a lot of them, if they were not at their school, they were impact. The impact teachers brought them over. They knew their kids. Like, I had a teacher said, I've got 3 seniors that's going to Trenum in manufacturing. He brought them over to see and talk to them. So I was really excited about that. But they did, this is called subtractive manufacturing. I learned a lot. This was printed by a 3D printer called an Epilogue laser printer. And they made one for all of y'all, so we'll take one and pass it around.
Could we see one? I mean, we're interested too.
Yeah. But I wanted you to see that we've had a lot going on, and I appreciate all the partnerships we've had. And I just wanted to give you a little update. We talk a lot about the COOTER assessments and what the kids have to do. I want to make sure that you understand that. And so, first of all, the assessments, there's 3 different assessments that the kids do. They do an interest inventory. They do a work confidence inventory. So they ask them questions like, what you would feel comfortable or you would like doing, or you feel like you could do. The interest is what do you like. The confidence is what you think you can do or want to learn to do. Maybe it's something you want to learn to do and you're willing to learn to do it. And then they do a work value, like how much, if you want a lot of money, if you want to live in certain way. So they take 3 different assessments. And then what we're trying to model, and the career coaches are teaching the teachers how to do, is then take those results, talk to the kids about that, I know they're ninth graders and it's gonna change, but it gives them an opportunity to look at all the broad careers out there and what they can at least start thinking about. So I am proud to announce that in just a few weeks, they've been working with those teachers. We have 96% of our ninth graders have finished their assessments. So we're excited, and that just gives you, last year, the assessments and 4-year plans, we had about 45% completed at the end of the year. So we're going for 100%. So now the career coaches are going back to those ninth grade classrooms, looking at the results, talking to the kids, helping the teachers do that, because a lot of our career preparatory teachers have not done that type of thing. So we're modeling that for them and doing the 4-year plans, and they should be ready in December. Because our goal is to take those 4-year plans and then help them do scheduling in the spring and choose their classes according to that. And just so you can see, you can pull all kinds of data. This is the whole school I pulled, and it shows the career clusters and the top ones and how many kids chose that. So we can do tons of things with that data. Again, we know it's ninth grade. We know they're going to change, and we know that human services is the top cluster because kids think about themselves and their friends. So relationships are important to them. So I mean, you take all that into consideration, but it gives us something to start from. It tells us what clusters they're interested in and where we can start to guide them into the careers that they are interested in and point out to them. Because a lot of them, when you show it, they go, oh, that's not what I want to do. Okay, then let's talk about what you want to do. And so you can start changing that around. This is the skills confidence. And you can see right there, just to give you an example, I think STEM was about number 4 on the interest, but here it's way down here because they don't have confidence in that. There's probably questions that they didn't feel like they could do, maybe higher science, math or science. So it just gives us a lot to look at, think about, and start driving what we offer. This is a sample 4-year plan. I wanted you to see that. It shows the kids we will lay out their classes. And why this is important is that if a kid says, I want to be a doctor, okay, then you're going to have to take, biology and anatomy and physics and chemistry. Can you do that? And hopefully they can. And we push them, okay, this is what you want to do. This is the minimum math you need. But if, they're being realistic or not being realistic, okay, then you can do this and take a lower math or a higher science or whatever. But it tells them the minimum math and science that they need for that career. And then also we will add, the different jobs that they can get and those kind of things. But that's just a sample of what it will kind of look like. Other things that we've done is updated. With this, I came to find out that kids in career preparedness have to have computers, and lots of times those teachers did not have them. I was able to give business teachers, because that's career tech, and I would put through them to be able to put a lab that all career prepared teachers can come in. Now, they're not all set up yet. We had to do some rewiring and things, but it's all in the process. So I was excited to be able to do that. We're rebranding Career Tech just to kind of update it. If you remember, our old brand had a mouse on it, and kids today don't use mouse. they touch the screen. So we came up with a little power button that says Power Tomorrow. And so we have a new logo for Career Tech. And go back to that and hit. We have a new website. It's not live yet, but will it go? If you're online, if it's not. I was going to show you what it looked like. But we're upgrading our website. We want industry to be able to come and look at the programs. We're really partnering with the businesses in the industry here with the work keys and all the things that go along with that. We want to be able to have a website that they can look and put the information on there that everybody can see. So I just want to show you what it looked like. We're still working on it. It should be live in a couple of weeks. But we do have our own website. And we have Twitter now. Please follow us if you're not already. We put lots of pictures on daily. Something's going on, especially in October. We have something 2 or 3 all the time going on. So we just want to get it out there. There's lots going on. Cool stuff taking place every day. We can kind of take that from CTE. Lanier, another great thing is we've been partnering with the Montgomery Extension Office, and Ms. Thomas if y'all know Ms. Thomas, she has been really helping us. She's taken some kids. She was at Park Crossing today talking to kids about job applications and how to present yourself. So, I mean, we're all kind of things going on. And those, she's going to be at Lee tomorrow. So she's helping partner with us also. So I'm excited about that. Some impact students. We have, you know, you're familiar with Edwards Plumbing. He's really wanting a plumbing program. I said, well, we would need to get some kids out there and let them show what work is really like. He's taking them. We're sending, some impact kids are going for 2-week cycles and just shadowing under that work, and that's been very interesting. And so we hope to get lots more of those partners. Cyber Patriot, I think in the past we've had a couple of teams, but this year we were able to get 5 teams, and one of them's an all-girl team. They're really excited about that. They like to push that. So that is part of the IT program, and so we're excited about that. Okay.
You have a question, Ms. Brown? I was just wondering, as a former counselor, what percentage, if you know, of girls that are going in the non-traditional courses? Do you have an idea?
I don't have the exact. It's very low, though. It's very low. We've had
doing
some.
anything to encourage that?
Yes, we are. We've had, and especially at Impact, we've had several girls going into wiring and welding, and y'all help me out a bit. But yeah, construction is growing, and we're doing some things. And just to show you, this month we've done a lot talking to girls, and we've got some things planned with career coaches, things like lunch and learn in the lunchrooms, and ask just the girls and talk to them about manufacturing, different, not just manufacturing, but different non-traditional roles. So yes, we're very aware of that. And again, it's just the thing that we need all kids to understand, that everything's for them if they want to do that. And help them do it.
Yeah, Dr. Keith, and you're next.
Ms. Beasley, just hearing you have, I just wanted to say, you know, I've seen you once before, and I'm sure, I'm not so sure everything you do, but your energy and your enthusiasm, you know, just has inspired me. No, it has to inspire the kids. And the fact that your numbers represent, I like how you broke it down, and when you looked at that 17%, you didn't just shove them out. You were like, no, this is what really concerns us. And that video, you know, I think that kind of video needs to be shown at exhibits and stuff like that, because that shows those kind of things. I know I'm motivated just from hearing you talk, smile, because it's just natural, it's not planned, and the kids have to see that if I saw it. So I thank you for saying what you did.
Thank you, Andre.
Since they're here, I want my Dr. Crenshaw and Thornton to stand up. Stand up. Those are the two special I'm up here talking, but we are a team, and they are fabulous. And they call me so much, and they keep me like, okay, baby, calm down. So I need them. But they are great, and they have just been wonderful to help me get us going. I don't know the schools. I don't know, you know, they're just wonderful. We could not do it. We have a great team, and now that the career coaches, y'all gonna be seeing us all the time. Go ahead, I don't know what else is left on. Anyway, so moving forward, we're working on recruiting, and we're really using this semester to get ready, and then we're gonna hit it hard January, February. I hope I'm up here going, hey, I gotta have some more teachers at Impact. I gotta have some more folks, because I got kids who wanna be there. But we're really trying to get the teachers the materials they need, and we're gonna send teachers down to the 8th grade and talk to them about things and really pump that up. Dual enrollment, we kind of had a slow start, but I met with Trinity just last week again, and we're trying to get that going. It's just hard. They have to get their classes so far out. We'll have a few in the spring, but hopefully have a lot in the summer. Next fall, we'll really hit that hard. Our teachers are working together where we're going to have pathways for the kids to go right from our programs to Trenum. Some of our teachers may even be teachers for Trenum and those kind of things. So we want to set those pathways where the kids can have, you know, a big start on their 2-year degree when they leave high school. So that's in the works.
Ms. Cece, hold on one second. Mr. Porterfield, you want to ask something?
Yeah, I noticed that you had 3 mobile units, and the aerodynamics went to Brewtech and Pont Crossing, and manufacturing to Carver, and then the other, somewhere else. The question is, are you making plans whereby all of the schools will have an opportunity to view all of the mobile units, and certainly give the children, you're opening up pathways. So all of them, in terms of sharing the mobile units for every school, let them get the opportunity to see what's in the aerodynamics at Carver, manufacturing at maybe Brewtech and Park Crossing. Are there plans for those units to be used in that way so that every child will have an opportunity to see what's available here in terms of those you know, those things that you have provided tonight.
Well, and it's all manufacturing, but it is different emphasis.
Absolutely,
The
different
logistics,
areas.
and our plan was to move them all and do every school and try to move the schools, but it became a logistical nightmare to do it. And these trailers that are on loan to us, and that we only have, so it took them all day Saturday to set up there in Knoxville. And they cannot move them during the week. Was it AIDT that moved there? Somebody, but it was a lot of trouble. It was a trailer that they could move, but it takes a whole day to move it. So I hear what you're saying, and we went round and round trying to figure
Expose
out
all of
how,
them to the,
Pardon?
expose every
Right,
child.
right.
Yeah.
So we thought we did the best we could as far as space, to get everybody into some manufacturing.
Can't move the trailer, move the children.
And, well, and we wanted to do that, but, that became another,
Transportation.
well, just, yes, when you start talking about, okay, which kids are you gonna take, and we went through ninth grade, and then you've gotta move all of those, and they miss, only 20 can go through at a time, so you've got the other 100 standing and waiting. It was just a lot of thought that had to go into that, but I
The thing
agree.
about it is, you got 20 going in at one time, may take all day, may take 2 days, but every child should, I believe, have an exposure to what you have offered. You know, you may miss, how many you may miss if they didn't get that opportunity. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You know, you may have some child that may have a burning desire, but yet if
Yes,
not
and I hope it
exposed-
spreads, and we will have them back. We will have them back over and over. They've been here before, I think, but, and a lot of it was placement. Brutech was the one who could be there on Saturday and help get that set up, some of the other schools. So I hear what you're saying, and we will be doing it again over and over. And we did take some kids, it's just, we want to do the middle school kids. And so it's just, what we did in the 2 weeks that we had, and I hear you, and we want to get more, and hopefully this will spread, and they will talk about it, and the kids will want to come back. But, we will do what we can to get those back so all the kids can be there.
Ms. Beasley, I think now you're about to start talking about the four-year education plan, so I have a question about that, so you go ahead and see.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I've kind of told you, this is what we're doing, our emphasis through December, and try to get some more job shadowing and internships, of course, for spring and for next year. Start working on that. And then, of course, Thursday, you're all invited to the groundbreaking of Impact. So we're excited about that at 9 o'clock and get to see that process begin. But what was your question?
I have a question about the four-year plan in ninth grade. First of all, I'm so glad that you're over now that career, whatever the preparedness course. I think that just kind of needed to be reined in. I think every school is doing something a little bit different. So that's great. My question is, or my concern, do we not need to be doing that in eighth grade so that they can make sure they're on the right track for their maths and sciences in ninth grade? That does not sit well with me.
Yes, and they do supposedly have been doing the assessments there,
Right.
and some have done the four-year plan there. We're trying to get that centralized and make sure it's happening. And a lot of schools do that. You know, it's a requirement in ninth grade, but you can do the Part A of career preparedness in the eighth grade. The state allows that for that very reason, and we are looking at that.
Okay.
We're looking at that because I have career tech teachers in the middle schools already. So we are looking at that for next year.
What schools do you have the career tech teachers in eighth grade?
All middle schools have two.
Oh, do they?
Well, not all, but most have two career tech teachers.
Okay, so I guess my question would be, how can we, as the board, help y'all move in that direction? That just seems like the smarter thing to do is have this happening in eighth grade instead of ninth grade.
We're evaluating everything. You have to look at everything. It's a high school credit, it's a half credit, so it's a process. It's a half credit, so that's a high school credit. We just gotta make sure and get with the principals and make sure that credit can be matched with something else in high school. There's just a lot involved, but we
Sure.
are thinking of that.
Okay,
And
good.
looking at that.
I'm with you, Melissa, because I think normally those assessments with respect to careers are given in eighth grade, aren't they? So they were given in eighth grade. So if they're given in eighth grade, those assessments are given in eighth grade, then wouldn't it be feasible to have those eighth grade children to view this program so they can make plans for the next year?
Yes, and that's.
And then you
that's
can up
what
your
I'm-
enrollment that next year with respect to those children who've already taken that assessment now. and should have some idea, feel of what they want to do, and then give them the opportunity to look at your program, and then they can make that
And we're
decision.
trying to get the counselors, we've got to write all the counselors in and get a plan. So we are with you, we agree totally with you. And we're there, we just gotta get that, we've gotta get the counselors on board, we've gotta get the principals on board of what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it to make it work, be very efficient with it. But, let me just say, they are supposed to look at those 4-year plans every year. We wanna put that in place because the child changes. Or they get into a place, I would love for them to be able to experience some things and then change. So it's a process that we want to make efficient, and we're with you and we hear you. It's just things we gotta work through.
And we used to do that, the counselors used to do that in the 8th grade, and we gave the ideas, assessment, and we knew all of that when they got to the 9th grade.
And some of them are doing that.
But it was done in the 8th grade, so they drop it back down to the 8th.
Well, and I think Dr. Keith said it well. I mean, your enthusiasm is very contagious, and it's exciting to see you and your team leading the way. So great job. Okay. Mrs. Wooten, are you ready? Mrs. Wooten, you've been very busy.
Good afternoon. First, I want to apologize for my voice. I am under the weather, and I know it's painful to hear this. It is painful to talk, but I'm going to try to work through this the best I can. And the longer I talk, it's probably going to get worse and may go away, but we're going to try to work through this. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Chair, members, Board of Superintendent Allen, staff members, community. I stand before you today to discuss the July financial statements. You have a financial statement package for July in front of you, along with some other financial statements. The first thing on the board is July. In accordance with the State Law Department of Education regulations, my memo in your package serves that all bank accounts that's controlled by central office from UPS have been reconciled for the month of July. I'm going to focus mostly today on the general fund because that's our major concern, and those are things and expenditures that we can control. So we're going to turn our focus. We're going to talk about accounts payable, just to give you an idea of what we're spending in accounts payable and payroll, and then we're going to talk a little bit about general fund, and then I'm going to slowly roll into, I think the next thing on your agenda was the contract reserves. For the month of July, excuse the typo, I see this says March. For the month of July, accounts payable expenditure was $3.4 million, and payroll expenditure was $8.2 million, which means the gross pay was $13 million, and matching benefits was $5.2. And when we talk about the 1 month operating reserve, that pretty much comes from what your payroll is at that time. And when we say 1 month operating reserve, everything stopped as of today when we made payroll, and that's where the 1 month operating requirement is coming from. That's 1 month for payroll. General fund, July, the board is at 1012, which is 83% of the budget. The local revenue, the ad valorem, which is our taxes, are at 89%. So we're a little bit above what is expected because we should be at 83% and we're at 89%. The 1 cent sales tax as of this date has been $18.3 million. This is up last year by 6%. As of July, the general fund had a unreserved fund balance of $17.2 million. When we say unreserved, those are funds that has not been obligated to anything. So usually that's the number that we're all going to want to maintain and monitor. As you're aware, the finance department is currently performing year-end closeout procedures. After the closeout is complete, we'll have a more accurate position of where we are financially. So when we do the budget, we're pretty much predicting what our year-end is going to be. But once we close out, we can actually see what we end up with and roll those figures into our budget and find out where we're really going to stand for next year. Of course, as always, general fund is a major concern for me at this point. As I reported in the budget hearing, our general fund is slowly declining, so we want to In the recent coming months, I'm gonna meet with the finance department, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna go over a plan of how we're gonna try to get our 1 month operating. And in the process, we're gonna be streamlining some procedures and looking at ways that we can raise that fund balance. If you look at your first graph in your packet, it's just pretty much a simple graph, and it just indicates what our 1 month operating reserve is. As you look at, as of July, we are above the 1 month operating reserve, but we still have 2 months remaining, so we have 2 months of expenditure we still have to account for. So, and as you look at the trend, what usually happens is between the last 2 months, it actually starts declining some. So we're going to really be looking at September. We're in closeout now, which means we have to make sure that all expenditures related for FY15 is in FY15 year. So right now, when we say closeout, we're making sure that all the expenditures, so we're still occurring or accruing expenditures for September 30, but there are invoices out there still where we have gotten a product or gotten a service at the end of last fiscal year, and we have to account for those. And that's what we're doing right now in finance. If you look at the next graph, it just pretty much is a bar chart, and it pretty much just give you just a breakdown of how the expenditures are spent. And if you look at, excuse me, instructional services is 52%, which is meaning a little bit over half of the money that's spent on general fund is for instructional spend, and that's pretty much how you always want that percentage to be. And also you look at too, our administrative services is 3%, which is great for a district this size to maintain a 3% administrative expense. Also, you'll see the notes to the July financial statements. It tells you about the total assets and total other debts, which is $23.3 million, and the total liabilities is going to be $23.3 million. Our unreserved is, which we talked about earlier, and we're looking at $17 million that has not been obligated to anything at this point, and our total fund equity is $23.2 million. Our beginning balance, what we started with at the first of the year in October, when I say year, I mean fiscal year, is $16.1 million. As of today, our total revenues that we have received is $187.3 million, and our expenditures as of today is $180.2 million, which means we have collected and saved more than $7 million than what we expended out, and that's the trend we really want to try to keep on, and that's the thing we're going to be focusing on as we close out the fiscal year and start reporting things for the new fiscal year. The ending fund balance is going to be $23.2 million. As you all know, the finance department is undergoing a major overhaul, whether it's from new staff, whether it's from new procedures. Doing this review and implementation, we're finding things that may not be in compliance. We're correcting these things, we're making these things, we're going in and we're correcting them, and not only are we correcting them, we're teaching and educating how things should be done. And with the help of my staff, we've been going around training department heads, and we're training principals, we're training bookkeepers on our next-gen system. Our next-gen system is the system we use for our accounting purposes, and this is no additional cost to the district. We have parts of next-gen we have not been utilizing. So we're training these people to go into next-gen, and they will have access to their data, to their financial data, and they can go in real time and check their budgets. So this is giving them the tools they need to make sound financial decisions. And this is new to everybody, because finance was the only person that had access to NextGen. So at this point, we're training everybody, even our directors, to use NextGen and understand how to go in and pull up their budget and how to maintain their budget. During the budget process, we realized that everybody not having access to NextGen were unaware of what their budget balance was, how much they were receiving, and just did not have real-time information. And what ended up happening is they need finance to pretty much give them all the information they need to make a decision. And as you know, finance has things of their own that we got to keep going and keep rolling with, which means sometimes things are not given back to them in a timely manner. So in an effort to improve that, we're giving them access. We're letting them see what we see. They're actually in our live books, and viewing access doesn't harm us here. So we're letting them go in, and we're letting them view their budgets and letting them see how things work. And so it's just a huge transition for the entire district. Also, we're implementing something that's called allocating tracking. What that does is that allows the schools to actually computerize and keep up with the state funds that's given to each teacher. They can go in and find out how much each teacher has spent at any given moment. They can find out what their balances is. And I know the biggest thing is a lot of times everybody wants to know during the year for what's remaining to spend. And we're indicating that these funds need to be spent in a timely manner so we don't get caught up in the closeout to where we're wondering if things are gonna get in to be classified as this year's current expenditures. Information you need to really know how it worked was not there. So we went from having this huge auditorium, learning center to we actually been meeting with departments and their secretaries, and he's educating them on the procurement amount, and then me and some of my staff, we stepped in and we showed them how it works on the computer. So we're getting everybody in on next gen to have real-time information to be able to make sound financial decisions about their budgets.
If you're saying what I think you're saying, or if I'm hearing what I think I'm hearing, God knows we have needed this. Because this man over here, Robert Porterfield, was griping and talking about being on the system. If I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that, say I'm at Bellingraph, then I can go in real time and look at what each teacher has in his or her budget, how much money he or she has left, how much money we have before the end of the year, so I can have a running account of what, and I don't have to call down here and ask you what I have.
That is wonderful, because I think every department needs to know what funds they're working with, what they have left, and certainly have some idea of what they're working with. I mean, it's just like being in the blind if you don't know what your budget. Every department needs to know their own budget. Without that, they're just like a ship without a
They're
sail.
accountable for spending it correctly. And one thing we did notice with collaboration with my staff is that that's something that's really needed in real time.
Absolutely.
And not only that, when the reporting for the teacher's allocation, it actually can go out and print a vendor listing of what has been purchased. So it's show if they purchased from Office Depot, if they provided service. So it gives them real-time information to make these financial decisions.
And they don't order things that they don't have within their own particular budget. So they know what
That's correct. That's correct. So that's just the ongoing training that we're doing, because this is just a system-wide new procedure for everybody. So not only is it just a learning phase for the finance, but it's a learning phase for the entire district. Because this has been something that has never been implemented before, but we saw the need and we got together and provided that need to our teachers and our principals. And saying that, I kind of want to roll into the second part of my presentation, which is contracted services. When we first started the budget, the State Department put on loan with us this individual named Ms. Kim McPherson, and she was in, and usually for new CSFO or just system that's needing help, they would come in. So she came in during the budget process, and we actually did a detailed line item budget. So which means when we go to this automated purchase order system, if the funds are not in that line item budget, the purchase order is not going to print, which means that keeps us from overspending. So we've been implementing that, but since the fiscal year has ended September 30th, and that was her time period she had with the state, we're just asking that you continue her to finish the process, because we're in the process now of actually doing the closeout thing, and we're working on something called LEAPS, and if y'all not familiar with that, that's how we get our funding. And what LEAPS does, it accounts for every certified person in this district, and we have to tell how many years they've been here, how many years they've been in another district, how many years they've been in another state, what the degree is. All that goes into our funding. And what we find out now that some of our information is not correct, so we kind of need an extra hand and get that, because one thing we may be looking at, if we have not been funded correctly, that may be contributing to us not having the wrong one's operating reserve, which means we're spending funds that really should be provided by the state. And so I just ask that you take in consideration the need of her getting there. And we're thinking no more than 2 weeks probably to get that done. And just to know that tremendous amount that we probably could get back with the correct information in the system. And that's really because, and we're working on one major problem we have is HR is not in our system. Half of the information that for LEAP is HR information. And so we really have to implement them. And I've been in talks with our computer company, which is Harris Solutions, and getting training and getting HR set up, because now what happens is because the information is not correct, we literally may have to go back to the file cabinets and pull folders and get these things. And when I called the district, I said, hey, how do you handle this? And the first thing they say, HR department does. And I said, well, our HR is not in the system. Of course, they just, be willing about that fact. So it's just certain things. So it's just certain things. certain things that's not in place that really should have been in place is gonna help us move forward. Like I said, this is gonna be a huge advantage for the district, and, because leaps is so important, because that's how our funding is. And my first thought was, if our leaps is incorrect, that means we really could be using general fund money on things where the state really should be providing. And so that's why I do ask that you consider the contract with Ms. Kim Fisher to finish what she started when she came in with the budget.
Did she include that human resource department with respect to, and you notice here that even in terms of what's impacting the general fund, and your graph shows that that's gonna come from the instructional services. So that's critical through that HR department, you know.
That's correct.
And to be able to certainly prevent in the future, whereas I've looked at some in the past, and here we budgeted a certain amount, and then we look over here in the last column and say expended. So we don't expect to see any expenditures with respect to being 125% over what was budgeted, or 150% over what was budgeted.
And a lot of that is due for not utilizing this computer software that we have. And so that's the process that we're going into right now.
Okay.
Well, Mrs. Williams, thank you so much. Please, I hope that Mr. Porterfield's mind will work gave you some encouragement. We appreciate your hard work.
Yes, sir. Number 66.
Page 7.
Page 7, thank you.
Okay. A second thing that I'd like to bring to your attention is in regard to support personnel minutes addendum number 1. Let me just give you a little bit of information there. This recommendation will be regarding you're approving a stipend of $300 per month for Jan McCullough for assisting in logistics during the time that they were without a secretary. This is being prorated based on a number of days' work, as this didn't last an entire pay period. It was not for an entire pay period. So that's what addendum number 1 is all about. Having said that, I recommend approval of the personnel report, which would include the certified with us pulling certified number 66. It includes the support personnel and the classified addendum 1.
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation on the personnel reports, both certified, support, and addendum 1.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries with 7 votes. Red Cross Shelter Agreement.
I recommend approval of the Red Cross Shelter Agreement.
Madam President, I move that we accept the recommendation from the superintendent for the Red Cross Shelter Agreement.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries with 7 votes. Owner architect contract for HVAC at Carver.
Yes, I recommend approval of the owner architect contract for HVAC at Carver Manufacturing Building.
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve this owner architect contract, HVAC at Carver Manufacturing Building.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7 votes. Park Crossing contractor contract.
Yes, I recommend approval of the Park Crossing contractor contract.
Madam President, I move that we approve the superintendent's recommendation for the Park Crossing contract.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7 votes. Medicaid administrative claim.
Yes, I recommend approval of the Medicaid Administrative Claim Program.
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the MAC program.
All right.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7 votes. F, professional services contract for finance, Mrs. Wooden.
Yes, I recommend approval for the professional services contract for the finance department.
Madam President, I move that we adopt the recommendation of the superintendent for professional services contract for finance.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries with 7 votes. The next item on our agenda is executive session, but before we move into that, I just wanted to let y'all know that we need to all start bringing our iPads. We're going to have a training tomorrow morning, and we're going to go completely paperless after this meeting, so that we'll all have everything on our iPads. So just keep that in mind. We are going to do this. So, executive session. They may run me out of town, but we're gonna try this. I think that it will actually make our desks much neater over here.
I'm sure it will, but you know, you can eat it.
Well, we're gonna put our finger on it. We're gonna learn all about it tomorrow. All right, Madam Attorney.
I certify for the record, Madam Chair, that we will be going into executive session for pending litigation and potential litigation.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I move that we go into executive session, Madam President.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries with 6 votes.
We're gonna stay here if that's okay,
Okay.
since we're at the end of the agenda. We're gonna need probably at least 30 minutes.
Okay.
And
There will be a vote?
yes. Right.